Ladies and gentlemen, federal employees, your health insurance as a federal employee is one of your best benefits and one that you certainly don't want to lose. However, of course, you don't want to lose it for yourself. You also don't want to lose it for your spouse or your family, your loved ones that are on it, whether your kids or whoever else. So there's a few key things that you have to do to make sure that you keep it, but also, of course, your family can keep it if something ever happened to you. So today, that's what we're going to dive into. If you are a federal employee, welcome to the channel. So good to have you. My name is Dallin Haas, a financial planner who serves feds every day, and I love it. So let's talk about it. First, let's talk about how you can make sure you always keep your health insurance as a federal employee. Number one, while you're still working, it's pretty straightforward. You just keep the health insurance. You don't drop it, right? However, into retirement, there's two things you have to do to make sure you can keep it into retirement. Number one, you have to be eligible for a full retirement, which means you've got to be eligible for a pension to hit you right away in retirement, whether it be a full retirement or a VERA or some version of being eligible for a full retirement where you get a pension right away in retirement, okay? And you've got to be covered under your health insurance, your FEHB, for the 5 years before you retire, okay? Now, it's okay if your spouse is also a Fed. It's okay if they cover it for some time and you cover it for some time, as long as for the 5 years before retirement, you're covered under a FEHB plan in some way, okay? Then you hit the 5-year rule. So if you're eligible for a full retirement and you had FEHB for the 5 years before retire, then you are good to go. You can keep it into retirement. However, one misconception is, let's say your spouse is not a Fed here, okay? They're not a Fed. Some people assume that their spouse has to be on their health insurance for the 5 years before they retire, for their spouse to stay on the health insurance into retirement. That's actually not true. For example, let's say this is the 5 years before retirement, and you retire right here. This is the 5 years. Let's say you, of course, had FEHB the entire time, but your spouse only jumped on the last year. Let's say they had coverage from their job or whatever it may be. They only jumped on the last year. Yeah, that's totally fine. You can do that. And even in retirement, you can actually add them in retirement, even if they are never on your plan while working, okay? They can jump on at any time. But here's the kicker. Here's the thing you have to keep in mind. If you want your spouse to be able to get onto your health insurance after you pass away, they can't do that, okay? They have to be on your health insurance when you pass away. They can't get it on it for the first time after you pass away. So, first, they don't have to be on it at any time, let's say before retirement to keep it. You could add them even in retirement. But if you were to pass away and they're not on it, they can't get it in the future. And there's another criteria. First, again, they got to be on your plan, okay, when you pass away, and they have to have a survivor benefit. Now, a survivor benefit, if you're not familiar, is when you fill out the retirement application. The retirement application, when you retire as a federal employee, that happens the last 6 months or so of your career, you fill out a bunch of paperwork that says, hey, this is the sort of things I want for my benefits. One of those decisions has to do with a survivor benefit. And this survivor benefit basically says, hey, if you want your pension if you were to pass away, you want your spouse to inherit a piece of your pension, then it's going to cost you some money. And that's what a survivor benefit is. You pay money when you're both alive. So if you pass away, your spouse inherits a piece of your pension. And your spouse has to inherit a piece of your pension if you want them to stay on your health insurance. Now, there's two options for survivor benefits. There is the full, where it'll cost you 10% of your pension when you're both alive, and they'd inherit 50%. Okay, so you pay 10, you get 50. Or there's the partial, which it'll cost you 5%, and they will get 25%, okay, of your pension. So to cost you 5, they'll get 25% of your pension when you pass away. Now, you have to do either one of these. Either one would work. And your spouse has to be on your FEHB when you pass away for them to keep it into retirement, okay? So, quick recap. If you want to keep your health insurance into retirement, you have to be eligible for retirement, have it for the 5 years before you retire. If you want your spouse to keep it, if you were to pass away, they have to be on your plan when you pass, and they have to have a survivor benefit to continue it beyond you. But as long as you're alive, you can add them, drop them, whatever you want. Every open season, you can change between self-only, family plans, selfless one, any of those. You can make changes every single open season. As long as you're alive, you have options. When you pass, not so many options, okay? So I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video.